Hey everyone, welcome back to John's Watch. Today I'm taking a look at a year-old game now called Payday 3. This game was originally released on September 21st, 2023. Its regular price is 41.49 Canadian, that's a weird exchange rate there, or your regional equivalent, and is developed by Starbreeze Studios and published by Deep Silver. You're probably thinking, why would I be taking a look at this game a year after it came out? The Year 1 edition was released approximately a year after it came out. It's just kind of like a Game of the Year edition sort of thing. You know, it had the base game, it had 4 DLC expansions, and just a bunch of clothing and masks for your heisters, your paydayers, as I'm sure they're called in the community. And so I was sent a review code for this and wanted to give it a go, because I actually played a fair bit of Payday. A little bit of Payday 1. I played quite a bit of Payday 2.
This is definitely not the smoothest this has ever gone.
This is probably the best I've ever done.
Even though 2 people are dead.
Yeah, no, this is really looking good for me.
Which actually came out a decade before Payday 3. Payday 2 came out in 2013. And Steam says it was developed by Overkill, a Starbreeze studio, so presumably the same developers as Payday 3. But yeah, Payday 3 came out 10 years after Payday 2. And I love that the Steam page says Payday 3 is the much anticipated sequel to one of the most popular co-op shooters ever. At launch, this game was lambasted as, for many, many reasons, but one of the main reasons was, this is a very unnecessary game. Payday 2 looks a little bit dated, you know, it's a 2013 game, but it's got all the content there. You do one purchase to get everything. Well, not everything. There's like 30 DLC packs or something for it. But like Payday 2, the base game, has been in past 92 Canadian cents. So the point was that you could get a kind of the complete version of Payday 2 for a very reasonable price, and kind of the only downside was it wouldn't look as good as a modern game, but it would still play amazingly. And then Payday 3 came out, you know, missing a ton of features from Payday 2, less maps than Payday 2, far more expensive than Payday 2, and just seemed kind of unnecessary. And yeah, I personally completely disregarded Payday 3. You know, like I haven't played Payday 2 in a long time, but if I was going to play a Payday game, no real reason to play Payday 3. I'm not personally a massive graphics snob, I'm more of a performance snob. And so Payday 2 kind of satisfies all the requirements for me. So I heard all the hullabaloo about Payday 3 and just ignored it, because it wasn't something I was super interested in playing. And now, obviously, I've got a chance to play it for myself. I played just over an hour, Steam says 73 minutes. I did a tutorial, and then I went to play an offline game with bots. One of my favorite things to do in Payday 2, especially when I first got it, was to play games with bots, because while it's not as easy as playing with other players, for example, typically the end goal of a Payday mission is to gather a bunch of cash or drugs or something into a duffel bag, and take that duffel bag to your getaway car. And the downside of playing with bots is that you, as the player, are the only person who can pick up these bags and take them to the getaway car. So if you're playing with real people, and in Payday 3, you have to collect 3 of these bags at a minimum to escape. So if you're playing with real people, or everybody in the group grabs a bag, and then you escape, you can escape much cleaner and swiftly. But if you're playing with bots, you, as the only real player, has to take 3 bags one by one by yourself. But that's still a game mode I quite enjoy, playing with bots, again, especially when I haven't played Payday for a long time, brand new to Payday 3, don't know any of the maps or anything, don't know the meta, just wanted to play with bots. And that was probably my most played game mode in Payday 2, and so it was just quite laughable that I went to find this mode in Payday 3 and saw that even though this is the Year 1 edition and it's been out for over a year at this point, the bot-only mode is still in beta, which is I don't know, kind of sums up Payday 3 quite well, I think. Don't know why it's in beta. It worked fine for me. It just says like because you're hosting like your own server, I guess, instead of playing on the official Payday servers, you might notice degraded performance. I didn't see any of that at all. So yeah, playing with bots worked fine. Had a fun little 20-minute game with the bots. A little bit frustrating that the bots, you know, still cannot help out. This is 10 years on from Payday 2. You'd think maybe they might have updated the AI a little bit. Doesn't seem to be at all. And so after my bot game, I decided I might as well try an online game. Luckily in Startup, I'd checked allow crossplay, which lets me play with not only PC players on other platforms, but also console players. As I found out when I hopped into an online game, I was paired with 3 PS5, PS4, PlayStation players. And I was a little worried about playing online because, you know, I know this game hasn't done well. It's currently sitting at mixed reviews on Steam, and that is dropping for reasons we'll talk about in a moment. And Steam charts said that at the time of me playing today, there were only 800 people playing, which is not very many. So luckily I turned on crossplay and I was able to match up with these PlayStation players, like I said. But obviously the servers aren't doing amazingly because this game that I managed to get into was already probably about halfway through, so I had no idea what was going on. Like I said, this was my second game. It was my first online game. No idea what this map was. We were cooking meth, apparently, which seemed kind of cool. And honestly, this was a pretty fun mission. Like the one I did with the bots was just your standard bank heist. That's standard Payday. But the second one was quite a unique heist. Yeah, like doing in a little meth house, cooking meth and taking bags of meth out to the car. And it was pretty cool. And I was like, oh, you know, if this is one of the new maps they added, maybe Payday 3's kind of turned around a bit. So after that one, I queued up for another heist, just with random people. When you go into quick play, you have the option of setting like your difficulty preset, I guess. And it looks like you can choose like 1 to 5, and 1 is beginner friendly. Like I haven't played Payday much before. I'm still learning the game, stuff like that, which seems like a good idea and a bad idea. Very good for me, because I don't have any experience with Payday 3, to hopefully match up with other beginners, but also bad in that it potentially segregates the player base even more. Like if there's only 800 people playing on Steam, presumably most of those people are not new to Payday anymore, so most of them are probably saying like, oh, I want the hard difficulty mode because I know what I'm doing. But I still never waited around too long. I think probably like 20 seconds or something to get into a game, so that wasn't too bad. But despite setting the difficulty mode or my experience mode to beginner, I was matched up with this guy who was obviously not a beginner. You know, this was another new map, another bank heist. So I had no idea what I was doing. And so I just followed this guy who had like a high player level, and he was like sprinting around, so he probably knew what he was doing. And he would literally go around and he would come up to me and he would say, follow me, and like, because I disabled like actual voice chat, but you can do like little voice commands like follow me or stay there or whatever, and he would be like, follow me this way.
Wait here.
And we would like, I'd follow him, he'd do something, he'd like say, stay there, and he'd like go and stealthily take out a camera and stuff, which was very funny and quite helpful for me. But like this guy was obviously not a beginner, and so I don't know why he was playing with beginners. You might think maybe he was playing with beginners to help out other beginners, but the second something went wrong, if like anybody was discovered, he would reset the server, so we'd have to start from the beginning. So this guy was queuing up into the beginner mode, I guess, but expecting perfection, and it was just very weird. And on the last game I played, we had what I thought was a very good attempt. We got very far in without being discovered. One of the other guys who joined got spotted, or our guard spotted a dead body or something. I think it could even have been the dead body that the experienced guy had created. And I was like, okay, well, you know, we've got decently far into this. Stealthy, time to switch to all guns blazing. And then he just instantly reset the server, and I was like, I'm not playing with this guy anymore. I'm done with this. I'm just gonna record my video now. I guess I'm kind of expecting people to be familiar with Payday if you're watching this video. Maybe should have explained what Payday was a little bit earlier if you're not. But it's really just a heist simulator, I guess. You start in incognito mode. You're just a guy in a fancy suit. You walk around, you case the joint. When you've examined everything you can from incognito mode, you put your mask on and enter Payday mode, which is where you can start doing nefarious things like taking hostages and climbing through windows and stuff like that, lockpicking. And presumably, eventually you'll be discovered, and once you're discovered, waves of police will come. You can tie up civilians' hands and actually trade them as hostages for more time without the police, that kind of thing. But basically, you know, the chaos escalates throughout. The very first wave of police is literally just police officers with like pistols. Then you start getting like SWAT teams, and then you get like stealth guys right out of Splinter Cell. It's very strange. And you're basically trying to fulfill the mission objective while fighting off these waves of enemies. And in the bank one, you're trying to drill into the vault and pack up bags of money and take them out to the car. In the meth one, you were literally cooking batches of meth and bagging those up and taking them out to the car, and that's kind of Payday. And it was fine. I think it's definitely a much better game to play with friends. I have one video, I think, one or two videos of Payday 2 on this channel where I played it with friends, and that was a ton of fun.
John, can you come out here and body bag this guy?
I'm carrying a person, Spencer.
Yeah, just come and throw him inside.
Oh god, this feels illegal.
And playing with bots was fine, but again, the limitations, which I can't believe are still there in Payday 3, make it not ideal to play. And then playing with randoms, like I said, the meth one I played with the randoms was fun, and then the bank one I played with that random who kept resetting the server was decidedly not fun. See, I really think it's definitely a game best played with friends, and I was actually going to record a video with Taylor on this because he's got Xbox Game Pass on PC, and I know that Payday 3 had launched on Game Pass, so I was like, perfect, I've got my Steam key, Taylor can boot up Game Pass, it's got crossplay, let's just play together, the two of us with a couple of bots, just for a fun video. And then it turns out when the Year 1 edition came out, this game was pulled from Game Pass, so Taylor and I could not play it together, and he did not want to buy it, which I don't blame him. And so as someone fairly unfamiliar with Payday at this point, I wanted to see what people thought of it now, especially after the Year 1 edition. And I went and looked at the Steam reviews, and all the recent ones are negative. And they all basically say the same thing. They say the Year 1 edition was decent. They were starting, you know, they finally added more maps and things that were missing at launch, made some good updates, things we're looking at for Payday. And then Starbreeze took most of the staff from Payday and moved them on to another product. I can't even find the press release for this. I only know about it because of the reviews. So kind of sketchy that it's kind of very hidden away on the store page. But one of the statements from Starbreeze was, "We're confident in being able to continue delivering amounts of value to our players with a significantly lower level of investment." So when the Year 1 edition came out, that's pretty much the final version of the game. It might get a couple of very small updates. But I think the writing's on the wall. You know, everybody's moved on from Payday 3. It's in a good place now, but don't expect it to improve anymore, is kind of the gist I'm getting from the reviews on Steam. There's a couple of very succinct reviews that I just want to read out. One of them from Zeiss17 says, the game released half-baked, most of the stuff doesn't work, every DLC is repetitive reskin trash, and they're putting the game on life support to fund other live service slop. There's another funny one that just says, my biggest regret was not returning this game on launch. That's pretty damning criticism, I think. And just on a personal level, like, booting up this game is so overwhelming. There's so many currencies, so many different like shops to buy things for your characters. On the level up screen, I have no idea what any of it means. Yeah, it's a really bad new player experience. And this is even from someone who is familiar with the Payday gameplay loop, because I played a fair bit of Payday 2, not for several years, but like I know how the game works. But all of the other systems in place to make it a live service is just dreadful and really unintuitive and just really difficult to get my head around personally. So there you go, those are some fairly quick early game thoughts on Payday 3. Probably not gonna play any more of it unless, you know, a few friends pick it up for dirt cheap, which might happen in a year or so. I imagine they're probably gonna try and keep it fairly high priced to not devalue the year one edition, but obviously as they are moving on from this game, the price will decrease over time, so I'm probably not going to play any more of it by myself, but might check it out in like a year or two with Chris and Taylor maybe, if you can get it for like $4. So final thoughts, I guess, if you've got a group of friends to play with, you can get it on sale and you're okay with this being the final version of the game and potentially not getting any other significant updates. You could probably do worse. If you really don't care about graphics, probably just stick with Payday 2, because that's kind of got everything and still plays fantastically. If you care about graphics, maybe Payday 3. But yeah, otherwise I probably would not recommend Payday 3. Thank you guys very much for watching. Make sure you leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys later. Bye!